Always say your prayers. Why you keep stealing my shit? Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel, everybody. Yes, another video. Are you guys like shocked? Yeah, I know, right? So on the menu today, as you can see, but we have Wingstop. And yes, this is all my hair. It's not extensions. Yeah, I have a fro. Don't you know? So I'm sick of wearing it up all the time, so I did something crazy different. So this is Wingstop, everybody. We have a mango habanero traditional. We have traditional Parmesan garlic. We have boneless original hot. Voodoo fries. They're rolls, carrots and celery, large ranch. There's one blue cheese. I ordered 3, but they only gave me 1. Of course. And then honey mustards. And yeah, that's it. Agua. And I got more little sauces on the side. But that's it. And I got a story time for you guys today. You're going to enjoy it. Why am I holding my fork? Okay. I just literally walked in the door and threw all this up and pushed record. So yeah, it's like, let's do this. Okay, thank you, Father, for this food. Bless this food and sanctify it. By your word, in Jesus' name I pray. Amen. And always say your prayers. I promise you, I did not do that on purpose. I'm gonna get right into the story time because there's a lot of food here and a lot to say. I'm gonna talk with my mouth full because it's really difficult to eat and talk at the same time. I've never tried their rolls before, so I got them. I love bread and ranch. Excuse me, it's really good. They're really sweet. They have a sweet flavor to them. Really good. Okay. The story time is I want to tell you guys about the time I went to the Nut Hut. Yes, I said Nut Hut, okay? I hope I don't offend anybody, but hey, I was there too, so. Okay. Yeah. All right. I told like a little segment of this in one of my previous videos, but I never elaborated on it or actually never told the story of it. So that's what I'm going to tell you guys today. Huh. Bread's really good. All right, this was after my divorce with the father of my children. And remember how I told you guys I went nuts? I just went crazy. Sleeping around. Slept with anybody that came my way. Yeah, I know it's shameful, but hey, I'm honest and telling you the truth. I did. And male or female, I did. Not proud of it, but yeah. So I was drinking very heavily. I was smoking weed. I was taking prescription pills that were not prescribed to me. I was just on a downward spiral, really bad. Mango habanero. And my children, they know everything about me. They know all my story times. So yeah, I know some people say, your kids watch your videos. How can you say that or cuss like that or do this? Well, I'm their mother. They know me. Okay, so my mother found me. I was just doing nuts, crazy things, and I didn't care of the consequences. I didn't think about it. I was just like, whatever, I'm gonna do it. I don't care. I didn't have a conscience back then. So I got to the end of my rope where I just threw myself on the bathroom floor, and that's where my mom found me. And I was sobbing and just like curled up in a ball. And my mom came upstairs. She was like, what's the matter? What's the matter? She ran up to me and she like tried to hug me, you know. Are you okay? And I couldn't talk. I was just so out of it. Well, I told her that I was thinking of doing terrible things. You guys know. I'm not going to say it because, excuse me, I don't want to trigger anybody, and I don't, you know, YouTube is very sensitive nowadays with what you say in your videos. So I was thinking of doing bad things, and I wanted to do them, and I was like 2 seconds away from doing it. And my mom, she's like, get your ass up right now. Get your ass up. Yeah. That's my dog. He thought I was getting onto one of the other animals. He always comes running. That's okay, Jackie. Nobody's in trouble. So she got me off the bathroom floor, and she's like, that's it, you know, you're going in. And I was like, what? So she called in reinforcements. She called my uncle and my brother to the scene. So, because all my kids were small back then. This was, let's see, about, how long ago was this? 9 years? 9 or 8 years ago. Yeah. Okay. So good. I haven't had Wingstop in a long time. So my uncle and my brother came over immediately, and my mom, you know, explained what was going on. So my mom stayed at the house with my kids. My brother and my uncle took me to, well, the 10th floor JPS hospital. If you guys are from Dallas Fort Worth, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm dropping everything today. Oh, that's spicy. It's really good. So my brother and my uncle took me to the emergency room, JPS, and told the receptionist what's going on. You know, she asked me a bunch of questions, like, you know, do you have thoughts of this? Do you have thoughts of that? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? Shockingly, I said yes to every single one of them. So she, a nurse came in and she said, okay, we're gonna go upstairs. I said, okay. So I said goodbye to my brother and my uncle, and they left. And I was just The whole way to the hospital, I was in the backseat crying. I was just sobbing, just crying. My brother and my uncle were like, "You're gonna be okay. We're gonna get you help. You're gonna be okay." So they took me upstairs and they took me into this room. It was this room with 4 walls. There was nothing in there, not a chair, not a table, not nothing, okay? Completely empty, just a room. And there was 2 nurses in there, and the one nurse that took me upstairs, she walked me in, and then she shut the door, and then the one nurse walked to the door and locked it. And I was like, okay. I wasn't still crying at this point. I still was like emotionally, of course, messed up, but I wasn't like crying like I was in the car. So she said to me, she goes, "Take off all your clothes." And I was so messed up in the head at this point. I was just standing there and I was looking straight at the wall ahead of me. No expression. I wasn't, "Oh, hi, how are you?" No, I wasn't like that. But as soon as she said those words, "Take off all your clothes," normally, I'd be like, "What? Hell no, I'm not. I don't know what you're talking about. I ain't doing that shit." But I was so messed up. I just started taking off my clothes. I didn't care. And she said, okay, I was completely 100% butt naked, okay, in front of these 2 strange women in this room with nothing but 4 walls. And then she goes, "Okay, lift your arms above your head and spread your legs." I'm not even kidding you guys. This is what happened. Then she gets down in front of me. She squats down. And she's moving things around on my body. And then she gets up and she goes behind me. And my legs are still spread. And she's moving things behind me. Like, yeah, I'm not going to go into detail, but you guys can guess what the hell was going on. Oh my God. She's like, "Yeah, we have to cavity." Oh, before she did all the searching, she goes, "We have to cavity search you from head to toe." I have no expression. I just got naked and did what she said. Huh. Okay. Then she goes, "Okay, you're done." And the other nurse behind me, she handed me a top and a pair of pants. And she goes, "Put these on and we will be back in a minute." So they walked out and they left me with this nothing. They took my clothes that I had on and they gave me hospital attire. It wasn't a gown. It was just like prison clothes. Like the top and the pants. My dog is down there, mad dogging me. Then they came back into the room and she's like, one of the nurses took me and she goes, "Okay, come with me." And I followed her. and she led me into this humongous room. Huge, humongous. It probably had like 200 people in it. Okay. And excuse me, please, you guys, I'm about to tell you exactly what I saw, what happened to me, what I witnessed. So if I'm describing these people to you, please don't think I'm judging them or making fun of them or anything like that, because I would never do that. That's not me. But I'm trying to give you guys a mental picture of exactly what I went through. Okay. So, honey mustard. All right, so she leads me into this room and she gives me a number and she says, take this number and go have a seat and just wait for your number to be called. That's good. I grabbed my number from her and I'm like walking into this room and like 200 people, I'm not kidding you. Everybody was staring at me. Oh God, I hate that. I hate that. I hate that more than anything in the world. When you walk into a room, everybody's sitting and you're the only one walking in and everybody's looking at you. I can't stand it. Can't stand it. It's so uncomfortable for me. I freaking hate that. So yeah, that's what happened. And my face was so swollen. My eyes were swollen. My eyes were bloodshot. You know, I just looked like shit, like absolute shit, because the state I was in. Then you really don't want people looking at you. You know what I'm talking about? Like, don't look at me. I'll finally find a seat and sit down. You literally have nothing but the number they gave you. That's it. Nothing. So I'm sitting there. I'm looking down at this number. I'm just like playing with it, you know, because I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to look at anybody. I don't want anybody to look at me. Don't look at me. Then, oh my God. This is what I saw and this is what I witnessed. There were like people talking to themselves. There were people in corners drawing on the wall and laughing to themselves. There was. I hear my stomach growling. This one girl, the ranch got up my nose. She was, that's my stomach. She was braiding, like an imaginary friend's hair and talking to it. But, you know, in the chair, like ahead of her, but there was no one there, of course. It was like an imaginary friend, but she was like brushing her hair and braiding it, and like she'd go around the side. Oh, did you like that? Okay. And I was like, it was like there was people. This one guy was like pacing back and forth from wall to wall and like talking to himself and shaking his head. And I don't mean to be rude when I say this, but it was like a zoo. Okay. There was officers with belts, guns, wands, and handcuffs and everything, fully armed, in each corner of the room. There was 4 of them. There was one wall had nothing but windows, like big square windows, and the other 3 walls were just plain walls, right? Okay. So behind the windows the wall with the windows was like people in scrubs, like nurses or something. I guess that's what we're waiting for, our number to be called so we can go back there. And so I was in that room. This one guy, sorry, I keep jumping. I was in that room for 6 hours. 6 hours before my number was called. It was horrible. It was horrible. I'm looking at like all these people. This one guy started pissing on the wall. He just whipped it out and started pissing on the wall. And people were talking to themselves. People were pacing the floors, humming. This one guy, oh God, he was sitting in the chair, Indian style, and he was going like this, and he was going, over and the whole 6 hours. That's what I heard. If you aren't crazy when you go in there, you're sure going to be crazy when you leave. Like, it was, I'm looking at all these people thinking, all these people need so much help. It's so sad. And it really made me like reflect my situation. I was like, wait a minute. I'm not kidding you. For that 6 hours that I was stuck in that room with all these people that desperately needed help, it really opened my eyes, people. It really did. I wasn't, of course I wasn't like, oh, I'm healed, let's go. No. But it really made me view the situation that I was in a little differently. 100%. Out of the whole, like 200 people that were in that room, there was probably, I would say about 5 people. 5 people out of the whole 200 people in there were like me, like, just sitting there. They look like normal people, they didn't look like they needed to be there like I didn't. So, every now and then I would look up and kind of analyze the room really quick and put my head back down because I didn't want anybody to look at me or talk to me or anything like that. I was just so uncomfortable. This one guy, I noticed he kept staring at me. Kept staring at me. And he was a good looking dude. And as soon as I looked at him and saw him, I'm like, what is he doing here? He doesn't look like he needs to be here. And then I was thinking, he's probably looking at me thinking the same thing. Oh, he was. Because he got up, grabbed his chair, brought it over next to me, put his chair next to me, and sat next to me. And I was like, oh, shit. Oh, God. Is he gonna, like, bite me or something? I know it's not funny, but that's what I was thinking. I'm trying to tell you guys everything that happened. He goes, it's a sight to see in here, isn't it? And I looked at him, I said, huh. I'm in shock right now. He goes, oh, this must be your first time. I said, first time? I said, do people really come a second time? Like, I'm confused. And he goes, oh, this is my 4th. What the fuck? I seriously scooted my chair back. I really did. I was like, arr! I looked at him, I said, I started laughing, I was like, that's so funny. I turned back around. He goes, no, I'm serious. It's my 4th. Wow. Then instantly I was like, Okay, you can go back over there now because I'm scared. I didn't know what to expect, you know, it's scary. But then I was thinking, there's officers in here. If he tries to do something crazy on me, hurt me or something like that, I could scream for help. And we started talking, and he told me that he was in a band. He does bands. I mean, he's in a band, and they travel and do like in bars and dives and stuff like that. They sing and stuff and perform. He was 23. And he said, I said, so what the hell are you doing in here? And you're 4-time. I don't mean to be rude, but I said, why? What? You look like you look normal. And he kind of chuckled. He was really good looking. He had tattoos. And he was tall. And he had piercings, but of course they took his piercing, like his earrings. So, but you could see, you know, where the holes were where he has piercings. He's like, no, I'm a normal, decent guy. I really am. He said, I go loco every now and then. And I flip out. I said, what do you mean on yourself? Like, what? He goes, I have a time or two, but he's like, no, it's mostly just talk. You know, I just talk a lot. Apparently you can't talk nowadays because you will land yourself in here, especially around the wrong people. Or he goes, or I should say the right people. I said, no, I get you. He's like, because I'm sort of like a public figure, yeah. If I start talking crazy, my band members will throw my ass in here. He goes, and it's normally when I'm, you know, severely drunk, like wasted. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I got you. I do that shit too. But yeah. So anyways, he became like a really like friend to me. So he got up and like got me a glass of water, and he goes, it's gonna be okay. He goes, you just stick by me until we get called, and then, you know, I'll make sure nothing happens to you. And all these people were just still doing everything I told you. This one man, so sad, he walked out of the bathroom and he had a human adult-sized diaper on. Why did I say human? I didn't mean to say human. He had an adult-sized diaper on. Okay. And he had no shirt on, just the diaper. And he was sucking his thumb. And yeah, he was a large man. And delicious. And he was like, you know, laughing with like the guards, the security guards. He was playing with them. He would poke at their clothes and like run off and start laughing. Yeah. Did you guys hear that? Yeah, that was my husband again. Of course. Really? I can't waste the sauce. Anyways. So I said to the guy, I said, what are these people doing here in this waiting cell? They clearly need help, like really bad help. Aren't they assigned to a room by now or something? He goes, yeah, they are, but this is obviously their probably 15th, 20th time coming back. And I'm like, how do they release them if they're this disturbed? He goes, yeah, well, some are here for years and then they get released and then they come right back. So I was like, what? Uh-huh. Anyways. He's like, so what's your story? What's a beautiful girl like you doing in here? I said, oh, that's going to take days if I tell you what I'm doing here. Anyways, I gave him a rough draft, you know. But yeah, he literally saved me from that room of being, like, just seeing all the craziness. And, you know, it was just very upsetting, very eye-opening, very. I get up and I go, what do I do now? Like, he goes, oh, go over there to that nurse that's standing by that wall where the glass windows are. I'm like, okay. He goes, and give her your number. I gave her my number, and she goes, okay, go have a seat at section 1. Inside this room was 4 tables. Section 1, 2, 3, and 4. And there was 2 people at each section. One was, I guess, a nurse or something like that, because they had scrubs on. Then the next person was like a business attire. So I'm guessing it was either like a psychiatrist or psychologist with a nurse. You know what I'm saying? So I sat down at section 1, and they were asking me very personal questions, and I said yes to all of them. And then I went to section 2 and so forth and so forth. So they would ask you questions on different levels. Each section had a different level of, you know, what area in your life they're gonna strike at you. You know what I'm saying? You guys understand? Then I bit my lip. Slow your ass down. Never. That's really good. Mix the honey mustard and ranch. Really good. Downstairs in the ER, when you're going, you know, at registration, they give you a hospital band. But when you get past the 4 section of all the questions and stuff, they slap another wristband on you. Hospital wristband. And I guess that one is like your handcuff. That one's like your bitch, yo in. Yo crazy ass is a part of the family. You have passed all the tests with flying colors, and your ass is here to stay. No, yeah, that's what it was. I knew as soon as they put that second bracelet on me, I was like, yo fucked. Bitch going down. Oh my God. So she led me to my room, and you know, the male is, at this point, male and female are separated. Okay, so I went to the women's corridor section of the hospital. And I was led to a room, and as we were walking down, you know, the hallway to go to the nurse told me, oh, I'm going to take you to your room now. I was like, okay. And the whole time walking down this hallway, oh my God. Again, not making fun of anybody, not judging, just trying to tell you guys what I saw and what I witnessed, okay? So I'm walking down the hallway and I'm seeing like all these people that, you know, just some are playing board games, some are like playing tag, some are like crawling on the in the hallway on the floor, like writhing and laughing. And one girl was in a rocking chair and she was just crying and yelling, I don't want to go, I don't want to go. And the nurses are trying to get her to go somewhere, I don't know. And I'm just like, I'm like looking, she gave me a pillow and blanket. So I'm holding my pillow and blanket like this, like to my chest. And I'm just like looking around like all these people, like, somebody get me out of here. I don't want to be here anymore. And then the room right before my room, okay? Oh my God. There was this girl, the nurse that was leading me to my room, which was right next door to this girl's room. She said, oh, please don't pay attention. Don't even look in that room. Just keep following me. I'm like, okay. Please. Someone tells you, don't look, or don't do that, or don't go in there. What's the first thing you're gonna do? You're gonna do it. So, of course I looked. Come on. Excuse me, do you know who you're talking to? Yeah. I'm gonna do it. So it was like slow motion. I kind of like, because this door was open. And as we're walking by, the nurse that I'm with, she goes, so-and-so, you know, something in patient zero's room. I don't want to say names, but. And so she's like, okay, I'm on it. So like a nurse was running. This girl, she's in her room. The door is wide open. There was a teddy bear on her bed. I saw her on her bed straddling the teddy bear butt naked. And she was humping it. And she was slapping it. And she was cussing at it like Tourette syndrome. Not just like, you know, this, that. She was cussing like Tourette syndrome. She was humping this bear butt naked. And slapping it and punching it in the head as she was humping it. I know this is like not funny, but it is funny. But it's not funny. These people need serious help, you guys. It was so sad. Lord bless her. Bless her heart. Hey, to each his own. You know, I ain't got no problem with you. Honestly, I don't. That's your thing. That's your thing. But it was like slow motion, you know what I'm talking about? So I'm not even to my room yet, you guys. And this is the shit that I've seen. This is what I was in. This is what landed me in this place because I was being stupid. And, you know, thinking really, yeah, you know. So, yeah. And as soon as I walked past that, she goes, oh, here's your room. Right next to it. Thanks. Okay, thanks. Okay. I'll just take my pillow and blanket now. I'll go in the room and I'll go lay on the bed like a good girl. I will never forget that as long as I live. And I would like tell you what she was saying to that bear, but it was really, really absolutely inappropriate and shocking. I can't even, because YouTube, you know. But if we were like having lunch right now or dinner right now in person, I tell you exactly what she was saying. It was absolutely, it scarred me. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. And the way she was slapping it and hitting it, and the way she was humping, I'm done. I'm not gonna talk about it anymore. God. Oh God. So I get into my room. The nurse tells me, she goes, oh, everybody here has bunkmates, roommates. I was like, okay. And I wanted to ask her, like, are you going to put me with somebody really, really, like, crazy? Because I'm not here for that. I'm scared. Like, I'm really scared. I'm scared. But, of course, I didn't say that. But I wanted to say that so bad. But I know I couldn't. So I was, like, talking to the Lord. I was like, Lord, please help me. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Just, please. I want to go home. I want to go home. I wasn't even into my room yet, and I want to go home. So the nurse introduces us. Kristen, this is so-and-so and so-and-so. This is Kristen, you know, blah, blah. And gave a little background of her. And she gave, you know, this is a newcomer. And then she told me that she's been in here for like 6 months or whatever. I'm like, oh, okay. So then she leaves. And so me and that girl started talking. She seemed really decent. She seemed normal, you know, and really, really nice, really sweet. She sat up and she started talking to me, and we got to know each other, and we actually became really good friends. So that was really good. But she was in there for the same thing I was, you know, thoughts and things like that. So we had morning session, afternoon session, and night session of group meetings, and, you know, counseling and stuff like that. So we were up at 7, we had breakfast, and then we go to our first session. And it was like, you know, a group. You're literally sitting in a circle. And it's kind of like, hi, my name is Kristen, and I'm this and I'm that. And then the group says, oh, hi, Kristen, you know. And then you talk or answer questions. So that's how it was 3 times a day. And it was mandatory. You could not say no. Also, you were allotted 1 phone call a day. And you can either make one or receive one. You couldn't do both. It was one or the other. So if you like made arrangements with your family to have them call, then you couldn't go outbound. You needed to wait for your inbound. I'm so sorry. Do you hear that? The neighbors are mowing their lawn. That's really annoying. So sorry if that's what you hear. This mic picks up everything. So I was in there a week, you guys. 1 week. And let me tell you something. You cannot leave when you want. You do what you're told. You cannot be released from that hospital come rain or shine, come hell or high water. You ain't going nowhere. Do you hear me? Nowhere. The only way to be released from a mental hospital is when a psychiatrist, psychologist, or the actual doctor gives you release papers. Other than that, you ain't going nowhere. Yeah. I didn't know that. Neither did my family. I mean, you know, we weren't educated on that kind of crap. So I'm talking to my bunkmate, right? We did everything together. We ate together. We walked down halls together, you know. Everywhere we went together. We became really good friends. So I would pray at night to God, get me out of here. I believe a couple of times I cried myself to sleep because I wanted out of there so bad. And I knew the longer I was in there, I realized I don't deserve this. I don't need to be here. I'm here under false pretenses. I was just like, get me out of here. I changed my mind. I'm not crazy. I want to go home. It was, yeah. So sometimes I'd cry and I'd be praying to God, please, Father, please get me out of here. Forgive me. I'm so sorry. Just let me out of here. I want to go home. I miss my kids. I want to be with my family. So these fries and the honey mustard and the ranch, so good. Anyway, back to what I was saying. I was talking to my roomie. I was telling her, I don't want to be here anymore. I don't need to be here. I had, some horrible thoughts, but that's it. I don't need to be here. So during our group meetings, they would have each person stand up. Like I said, say your name, say what your problems are. And then you're supposed to sit down and then you're supposed to talk with the whole group about your feelings, your progress, your thoughts. Well, in each group meeting, I was very quiet, reserved. I would give like short answers, you know what I mean? Like, yes, no, like the shortest answers possible. I didn't want to be involved. I just wanted to go home. So I was like, not being defiant or anything like that. I was just, I knew I didn't need that kind of help like those people did. I did not. My roommate told me, she goes, if you want out of here, let me just give you a little heads up. I said, okay, yes, I want out of here. She goes, you're gonna have to, she goes, whether you fake it or whatever you need to do, but you need to be involved more when it comes to your group's meetings. You need to do the assignments, because we had written assignments too. And you're supposed to like check yes or no, and you're supposed to like elaborate and put on the comment section, your thoughts and stuff. She goes, if your counselors see your paperwork barely written on, if your counselors are noticing that you're standing up in the group meetings, barely saying anything, and you just sit down, they're going to think you're not getting the help you need and you need to stay here longer. I looked at her and I said, shut the hell up. Are you serious right now? I've been doing all those things just because I want out of here. I thought it was the opposite way around. Like if you express your problems and you got paperwork that's written all over, they're going to think you're nuts. You know what I mean? So I was doing the opposite. She's like, no, you're doing it all wrong. So this is like the 4th day I was there. So finally, I start talking like crazy. As soon as my counselor asked me to stand up, she had to tell me to shut up and sit down, because I was working on my ticket out. My paperwork was written from top to bottom, all over, front and back. I was like, okay, I'm doing my homework this time. I want out. So then I guess the counselors and the psychiatrists and all that, they started noticing that a change in me, because thank God my friend helped me with that. So 3 days later, I got released and I got to go home. But anyways, right before I went home, the nurse came into my room. And she's like, I need to talk to you. And I was like, okay. She sat down on the bed next to me. She's like, we are having 30 world-renowned psychiatrists, psychologists, and doctors come from all over, and they chose, out of all of these women on this ward, they chose 3 to do a special interview with. And she goes, it's very amazing that, you know, they go through everybody's chart and they see your picture and they read, you know, your paperwork, and they did that to every girl and they chose 3. I think there was like maybe 300 girls on that ward. Yeah. I was like, okay, yeah, like, okay. She's like, well, you were one of the 3 girls that they chose. I'm sorry, what? Yeah. I said, what do you mean I'm one of, I said, is this like a trick or something? Like what? I said, what am I supposed to do? Like, what do you mean? Why did they choose me? She was like, I just did. I don't have a reason to give you, because I don't know what it is, but they chose you. I said, so like what? If I say the wrong thing, am I gonna be, you know, awarded another year in this place or something like that, or a whole year? I mean, like what? What if I say something wrong? I don't want to do this. She's like, just be yourself. That's the only thing I can tell you. They're just gonna ask you questions and that's it. I said, okay. So the very next day, they came and got me and they took me into that room. Woo. I walked into this room, you guys. A big, humongous, like, knight's table, right? And there was 30 doctors and psychiatrists, psychologists. Well, they're all doctors, but yeah, all sitting around this table. And I walk in and they all had, each one of them had a laptop in front of them. It was like some serious shit. As soon as you walked in there, you felt the pressure on you, you know? It was like, oh God, I feel like it was a jury and I was on trial. And I walk in there and I'm like, I smile at everybody. I'm like, hi. Hi. They're like, hello, Kristen, all of them at once. It was like robotic. It was so scary. I was like, oh. And then at the very end of the table, there was one empty seat for me. I sit down and like talk about pressure. Oh my God. I'm thinking in my mind, I know if I say something stupid or wrong, or, you know, if I say something that they don't agree with, I'm never getting out of here. So I instantly start praying in my head, like, Lord Jesus, what is going on? What are they going to do? They're going to ship me to China or something? I was freaking out. So I was in there for about 45 minutes. Each one of them, it went down the line. They were asking me questions. They're like, don't be nervous. You know, this is just, what do they call it? Oh, it's just surveys, and it's just, there's no wrong answer. So each one of the doctors start asking me questions, and they're going down the line. And it went all the way around the table. And like the whole time I was like shaking and I felt nauseous because I didn't want to say anything wrong, or I didn't know what was going to happen. You know what I mean? So I was kind of like in between answering. I was praying. Oh, Lord, help me. Some questions were just random stuff, like everyday stuff. You know what I mean? Like, what are your hobbies, or what do you like to do in your spare time, or what do you enjoy doing, or what do you dislike? You know, some questions were like that, and then other questions were really deep and really serious. So it was a mixture. that torture was over. They were super nice, really super nice people, very intelligent, I could tell, like just very intelligent. And I got up, and as I was walking out, like one of the head dudes, he's like, we really enjoyed this interview. This was the most pleasurable interview we've had. I was the third girl. Okay, the two girls already went before me. And they said, yes, this was the most interesting, most enjoyable interview out of all three of you. I was like, thank you. And I was like, oh, thank God. Okay. So I walk out. The nurse brings me back to my room. And she goes, okay, well, the doctor's going to call you in the morning. I said, okay. The very next day, I got out. The doctor called my nurse's station and gave them permission to release me. So they came and got me and said, you're going home, you're leaving, you're being released. And I was like, what? I almost started crying. I really did. It was like getting out of jail, out of prison. That's how it felt. I've never been, but to prison. Been in jail, not prison. But it was like, yeah, being released from prison. Same kind of feeling, I would imagine. So, yeah. Before I walked out with my walking papers, I had to go into another room with the doctor that released me. And it was a female. And she's like, sit down, Kristen. I said, oh God, another meeting? Why? And she started laughing. She goes, no, you're being released, but this is your last step before we can actually push you out the door. I was like, oh, okay. I've never been so happy. Oh my God. Well, she's like, this last step is where we give you your diagnosis, and we give you your prescriptions, and we give you an outpatient care form. I was like, oh, okay. So I'm like, diagnosis? I said, what are you talking about? What diagnosis? And she goes, well, it'll explain all to you here in the paperwork. And she slips me the paperwork, right? Slips it. And I'm like, what the hell? Diagnosis? And then she pushes over like 3 bottles of prescription pills. I'm like stumbling through like the pills. I'm like, is there any pain pills, or is there any like, no, I didn't do that. I was kidding. But so yeah, they gave me my diagnosis and my prescriptions and walking papers, and I finally was free and got out of there. But yeah, I'm about to tell you guys what I was diagnosed with. Yeah, I don't give a shit. You know what? Hey, this is what I am. You know, this is my problem. So, okay. I was diagnosed with severe PMDD, really bad, like the highest severe case, which I still suffer with today. Oh God, I'm so full. I can't even breathe now. And also I was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. There you go, folks. That's what your beloved sauce queen has, and that's what I was diagnosed with. And yeah. So if you guys don't know what that is, you can Google it, look it up, all you want, but yeah. Absolutely 100% me. So, and then she's like, she explained my prescriptions and how to take them and stuff like that. And I didn't know what borderline personality disorder was. I didn't know that. I had no clue. I knew what PMDD was because I've been diagnosed with that several times before. So I already knew what that was, and I'm like, yeah, that's old news to me. I said, what the hell is this? I didn't say hell because, you know, I was walking on eggshells to get out of there. I said, I'm sorry, what is this? And she goes, borderline personality. I said, yes. I said, what is that? I've never heard of that. I don't know what it is. She didn't tell me. She just said, I encourage you to read this pamphlet when you get home, and I encourage you to follow it, and I encourage you to take your prescription pills as needed and do not miss a pill. I was like, okay, I can do that. Anyway, she gave me a hug. She's very, very nice, very sweet. And she said, I'm so glad you're going home today. And it was not just my decision, but several people's decision to release you. And I instantly thought to myself, that board meeting with all those doctors, maybe they put in a good word for me or something. Maybe they said, yeah, she's cool, let her go home. I don't know, but I had a feeling it had a lot to do with them. So I got released, you guys, that day, and it was the best day of my life. I'm just kidding. Birth of my children were, but all right, this video is over an hour long. Maybe by the time I do the edits, it won't be. So we'll see. All right, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I can't breathe. I'm so full. But this was delicious. Go get you some Wingstop, everybody. And my children, they already told me, Mom, call us as soon as your video's done. Of course, they're not going to touch this because I already drooled all in it. But yeah, I wish I could eat more. I didn't think I ate enough, did I? I don't know, but I'm full. I'm stuffed. So I hope you guys enjoyed. And yes, that was my diagnosis, and that was my experience in the Nut Hut. So, all right, I'll see you in the next video, you guys. I love you all. Stay safe, blessed wherever you're at in the world, and love you guys. Bye.